Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. I am FARHAN with AHMAD KAMEL, and today we will be discussing regarding roles of occupational safety and health legal requirements in business management and occupational safety and health act in Malaysia and its salient features. Before we go through, any one of you familiar with occupational safety and health, guys? All right.
We all
I'm not familiar
familiar
with it.
about safety.
Okay,
Betul.
good. Alright, good. I'm going to ask few questions related with our assignment given. Okay, first of all, based on rules of OSHE legal requirements in business management, what is OSHE responsibility and accountability in day-to-day work operation towards OSHE compliance?
Okay, my name is Mohd SYAZWAN bin HAMZAH. Okay, I will explain about responsibility and accountability in day-to-day work operation toward OSH compliance. Okay, the rule of responsibility of OSH professional very regularly, but may include evaluation, working environment, developing, endorsing, and encouraging measures that might prevent injury and illness. And then provide cost information to employees, and public. And then providing medical examination and assessing the success of worker health program.
Okay, can I interrupt here? Which is from my point of view, many person as mislead of this case. For example, as you can see under OSHA 1994 under Part 4 Section 24 1A. Okay, let me read. It shall be the duty of everyone employee while at work to take their reasonable care of the safety and health of himself and of other persons who may be affected by his acts or omission at work. Okay, from this act, what I can say that every person not only focus on their safety, but only on their health. Okay, health here means that everyone should take notice about their mentally health, not only physically. So, from the too much workload could affect mental health, and an accident or mistake may occur at a workplace. All right, thank you, Shazwan, for your explanation. Okay, so for the upcoming discussion, we are going to discuss from you guys understanding on the occupational safety and health OSH framework. Okay, what do you know, guys? Know?
Okay, from my understanding, the Occupational Safety and Health Act is an act which provides the legislative framework to secure the safety, health and welfare among all Malaysian workforce and to protect others against risk to safety or health in connection with the activities of person at work. So, this act was gazetted on 24th February 1994 and may be cited as the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. And also, this act is a practical tool superimposed on existing safety and health legislation. That is from my understanding.
Okay, so anyone to give their point of view about regarding to this discussion? No.
No.
All right. Okay. So if no, I'm going to proceed our the next discussion related with activity involved in accident. Okay. So from your opinion, what is the activity involved in accident investigation activities in finding the root cause of the accident to prevent the event from happening again? Anyone?
Okay, my name is Mohd Zaimul. So for my answer is an investigator or team who believe that incident caused by unsafe condition will likely try to uncover condition as cause. Um, on the other hand, one who believe they are caused by unsafe act will attempt to find the human error that they are caused. Therefore, it is necessary to examine all underlying factor in a chain of event that end in an incident. Number two is the important point is that even in the most seemingly straightforward incident, seldom if ever that they are only a single cause. For example, and terms of an investigation which conclude that an incident was due to worker carelessness and goes no further, fail find answer to several important questions such as was the worker distracted? If yes, why was the worker distracted? And then was safe work procedure being followed? If not, why not? And then were safety device in order? If not, why not? And was the worker trainer? If not, why not? That's my answer from your question.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Zaimul, for your from your opinion. Okay, so from my point of view, okay, sorry. As stated in Factories and Machinery Act 1967 under Part 3, Section 26. Okay, so based on my understanding here, accident commonly happen when the training provided are not meet requirement and supervision of inexperienced worker. Okay, which is because as mentioned in the Act Factories and Machinery 1967. No person okay, let me read the act. Okay, no person shall be employed at any machine or in any process being a machine or process liable to cause bodily injury unless he has been fully instructed as to the dangers likely to arise in connection therewith and the precautions to be observed unless they receive sufficient instruction in work at the machine or process or is under adequate supervision by a person who has knowledge and experience of the machine process. Okay, so from this act, this action need to be taken seriously when handling an equipment or machine. Okay. In addition, still under the same part, which is part 3, where person in charge and certificates competency in section 28 regarding young person. So, no young person should carry out work involving the management of or attendance on or proximity to any machinery. This subsection also explain should not apply to young person not being under the age of 14 years receiving a course of instruction at a government technical school or other educational institution or not being under the age of 15 years if serving a recognized apprenticeship. Okay, so based on must be right. Okay, so as you can see, the Factories and Machinery Act 1967 also applicable also this act also applicable under government and private school that embodied long time ago and not only for industrial hub only. Okay, we're going through chemical health risk assessment and rules occupational safety and health in business management. All right. If any person involving in chemical risk health assessment activities in protecting employees from the adverse effects of hazardous chemicals, what is our action toward this?
Okay. Before this, I will involve about chemical health risk assessment. Okay. Before that, I will explain about OSHA hazard communication. Okay. OSHA hazard communication standard. The name is HCS. Is designed to ensure that information about chemical and toxic substance hazard in the workplace and associated protective measure is disseminated to worker. In order to ensure the chemical safety in the workplace, information about the identities and hazard of a chemical must be available and understandable to worker. Okay, OSHA hazard communication standard requires the development and dissemination of such information. Number one is chemical manufacturer and importer are required to evaluate the hazard of the chemical they produce or import and prepare label and safety data sheet to convey the hazard information to their downstream customer. Okay, so number two is all employer which hazardous chemical in their workplace must have label and safety data sheet for their exposed worker and train them to handle the chemical appropriately. The training for employers must allows must also include the information on the hazard of the chemical in their work area and the measure to be used to protect themselves lah.
Okay, sorry Shazwan, may I add my opinion?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so need to be mentioned that under Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 in Part 3 Section 11E, okay,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see here, the establishment of adequate methods of control of industrial chemicals at a place of work. Okay, so regarding to this act, I think any of chemical produced from a workplace, it will need under supervision. Okay, supervision of superior and need to be controlled in its usage. So every usage of chemicals will be resulting the employees more exposed to hazard of chemical. Alright.
Okay.
Hence, under part 14 section 66 bracket K on
Mhm.
Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 prescribe that the standard in relation to the use of, including standards of exposure to any physical, biological, and chemical or physiological hazard. Okay, so based on this act, it might be explained that employees deserve to know that what kind of hazards will they exposed to, and the side effect of whether physically, biologically, and others. Okay. Okay, I think this is it for our discussion regarding to roles of what we call that, roles of OSHA or OSH, legal requirement in business management. Okay, so for our second task relate with Occupational Safety and Health Act in Malaysia and its selling features. Okay, first of all, the selling features of the Act in Malaysia include the establishment of the National Council for Occupational Safety and Health, which is we call NCOSH, under Ministry of Human Resource. Okay, and then the duty to formulate safety and health policy in order to generate guidelines on occupational safety and health management system. Okay, next, the third one, the arrange appointment of safety and health officer in certain classes of industry. Okay, for for this type of situation, for the example is in a situation where safety officer of okay, for example, a safety of officer of oil rig was only responsible for certain oil rig, so he or she should not be appointing for construction site or machinery sites. Okay, next. Okay, so we are going through for our last discussion regarding to rules of OSH, legal requirements in business management. So, in other words, what are the other OSHA standard address emergency planning requirements? So anyone can explain it?
Okay, I will explain about it. Okay, so now there are several OSHA standard address emergency planning requirements, including hazardous waste operation and emergency response, or we call it HAZWOPER. There are also fire brigades and permit required confined spaces. This is for OSHA Publication 3122. Principal emergency response and preparedness requirement in OSHA standard and guidance for safety and health problem, to provide a broad overview of emergency planning requirement in OSHA standard. So, as an employee, we should also be familiar with the consensus standard of the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. There also another standard, which is American National Standard Institute, or we call it ANSI, and other standard setting organization. As this may provide additional recommendation and requirement about emergency planning, the NFPA develops, publishes, and disseminates hundreds of consensus code and standard intended to minimize the possibility and effect of fire and other risks. Virtually every building, process, service, design, and installation in society today is affected by NFPA document. So NFPA code and standard are adopted and used throughout the world.
Okay, that's all for our first task given. That's our discussion based on our first task given. Okay, so for the second task related with occupational safety and health in Malaysia, and its silent features. Okay, so first of all, the silent features of the Act in Malaysia include the establishment of the National Council for Occupational Safety and Health, which is we call NCOSH, under Ministry of Human Resource. Okay, that the first one. For the second one, the duty to formulate safety and health policy in order to generate guidelines on occupational safety and health management system. Okay, that's for number two. Okay, for the third one, the arrange appointment of safety and health officer in certain classes of industries. Okay, which is in if we trap in a situation that where a safety officer of oil rig was only responsible for certain only. So he or she should not be appointing for construction site or machinery site. Okay, next, the establishment of safety and health committee at the place of work with the aims of assisting in developing health and safety standards, rules and procedures that can be followed or complied at the workplace. And lastly, the use of approved industry codes and practice as evidence of compliance to safety and health provision. Okay, so regarding to the second task, from you guys knowledge and and so on, what type of policy statement is required for safety and health in Malaysia?
Okay, let me answer from your question. Okay, from my understanding, this policy statement, a health and a safety policy statement set out how you manage the health and safety within your workplace. It demonstrates your business attitude toward health and safety and the step arrangement and system you have a place to ensure your comply with health and safety legislation. So let I say more detail, right? For the like employer, in consulting with employer and their representative shall set out writing on the house policy, which shall be and firstly is just specific to organization and appropriate to its size and the nature of its activity. And second is clearly writing that and made effective by the signature or endorsement of the employer or the most senior accountable person in the organization. And then number three is communicated and readily accessible to all person at their workplace. And then next is review to continuing sustainability and made available to interested parts and appropriate. So for the policy statement can brief, but it would be mention commitment to prevent work related incident. Like example, like our organisation to commit to take every reasonable effort to eliminate the hazard and cause accident and injury. So I conclude about the policy statement may include safety and health shall not be scarified for expensive. Example, no job is to be regret so urgent that time cannot be taken to do it a safe manner, and the welfare of the individual is our greatest concern. So number two is unacceptable performance of the healthy and safe duty with not tolerate. Example like our employer, subcontractor, supervisor, and visitor will be held accountable for their safety and health performance. And lastly, the organisation of basic safety and health and physiology. Example, the the safety and health of the other person employed within the facility, resident and those visiting the facility are considered to be almost important. That's from me. Thank you.
Obligation of the employers towards the employees. Okay. Anyone can explain the obligation employers towards employee?
Okay, okay. I will explain about obligation of the employer toward the
Okay, Shazwan.
employees. Okay, actually, there's a lot of obligation of the employers toward the employees, but I will give you some example. Point number one is employer must give their employees a place to work and make sure they have access it. They must give them the tools, equipment, and other things they need to do their work. Okay, number two, employer must pay their employees the salary and benefit they agreed to, including the vacation, paid holiday, and other type of holiday. Okay, number three is employer must make sure their employees' working condition are safe. Okay, number four, in some case, employer must give their employees writing notice that their contract are ending or that they are being laid off. Okay, not that employer can pay employees a sum of money instead of giving the notice. Okay, the last one is employer must treat their employees with respect, and then they must make sure their employees are not harassed and discriminated against. Okay, that's all point from me.
Okay, from your explanation, may I continue with my opinion?
Okay,
Alright.
sure.
Okay. So most of mentioned by Shazwan here. Okay. All of the condition that mentioned is by Shazwan is enforced under section 15, 16, 17, and 18. So the relation to it, penalty can be given to a person who is refused to obey it under section 19, which is can be charged guilty of an offence and shall, on convictions, be liable to a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit. Okay, that's a lot of money, 50,000 ringgit, or to imprisonment of for a term not exceeding 2 years, or to both according to Department of Occupational Safety and Health Malaysia, which is we call DOSH here. Alright. So for the next one, did any one of you know that the function of the Safety and Health Committee at the workplace? Anyone?
Okay, from my answer, to review the safety and health procedure at the workplace. Number two is to investigate any complaint or other related matter that are raised, and to hold regular discussion with the employer on issue relating to safety and health at the workplace. Okay, the safety and health commitment of the place of work should assist in the development of safety and health rules and a safe system of work. Number two is review the effectiveness of safety and health program. Number three is carry out studies on the trend of accidents, near miss accidents, dangerous occurrence, occupational poisoning, and this is which occur at the place of work, and shall report to the employer of any unsafe or unhealthy. Okay, number four is review the safety and health policy at the place of the work and make recommendation to the employer for any revision of such policies. Let I go through the for the most have rules on the safety and health. Actually, I want to say the an employer of the work of the place of the work should in consumption with the safety and health commit, prepare and promote the rule on the safety and health, which is ensure the safety and health to person employed at the work. At the place of the work for the guidance of the such person, and the rules any with approval of the employer be by the commitment. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Alright, thank you, Zaimul. Okay, so last but not least, before we end of our discussion regarding to occupational safety and health act in Malaysia and its salient features, so who can explain the aim of the act established? Anyone? Akif, since you're not talking a lot.
Okay, sure, I can. Okay, to answer this last question, there are actually four aims that are already established for this act. which is the first one is to secure the safety, health, and welfare of person at work against risk to safety or health arising out of the activities of person at work. Okay, secondly is to protect person at a place of work other than person at work against risk to safety or health arising out of the activities of person at work. And thirdly, to promote an occupational environment for person at work which is adapted to their physiological and psychological needs. And lastly, to provide the means whereby the associated occupational safety and health legislation may be progressively replaced by a system of regulation and approved industry codes of practice operating in combination with the provision of this act designed to maintain or improve the standard of safety and health. Yes, that's all from me.
So anyone to add on their opinion or anything?
No.
No, Shazwan, are you okay with it?
I'm okay.
Okay. So I think that's all from today. That's all from today. So I hope that everyone will always stay safe during this COVID pandemic. And thank you for your cooperation. Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum
Assalamualaikum.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.